In 1950, a hiker ventured into a seemingly ordinary forest, yet hours later, he vanished without a trace. The trail he followed became an empty path leading into a mystery that has never been solved. This is just one of many inexplicable disappearances that occur in forests around the world. Forests that seem to swallow people whole, leaving behind no evidence, no explanation, only questions. Across the globe, certain forests have developed a chilling reputation. These places are not only home to dense trees and shadowy paths, but they are also shrouded in mystery, with stories of people disappearing without a trace. Whether it is the eeriness of the landscape, the psychological strain on those who enter, or something far darker, these forests have left a mark on human history. From Aokigahara in Japan, known as the Suicide Forest, to the Bennington Triangle in Vermont, USA, and the Hoya Forest in Romania, each of these places carries a unique story. They are all linked by a common thread: unexplained disappearances that no one can seem to solve. These forests do not just present a physical danger, they seem to offer an unsettling psychological challenge as well. Those who enter often report strange sensations, feeling watched, hearing unexplained sounds, or becoming disoriented for no clear reason. It is as if the very landscape has a life of its own, drawing people deeper into its heart, making it nearly impossible for them to find their way out. The stakes are high when entering these forests, as the mystery of what happens to those who disappear continues to haunt not only the locals but anyone brave enough to visit. Throughout history, many have set foot into these places, never to return. This video will explore 3 of the most notorious forests in the world, diving into their history, the strange disappearances tied to them, and the theories that attempt to explain these chilling events. These forests are places where the boundary between the known and the unknown becomes dangerously thin, and for some, the price of discovery is far too high. Mysterious forests exist across the world, each one with its own unique reputation for eerie disappearances and unexplained phenomena. These are not your typical natural reserves. They are places where the line between reality and the supernatural is blurred. Aokigahara, also known as the Suicide Forest, stands at the foot of Mount Fuji in Japan. This hauntingly quiet forest has long been linked to death, and it is one of the most notorious places on Earth for suicides. But there is more to it. Those who enter, even with no intention to harm themselves, often report feeling a sense of disorientation, a heavy presence in the air, and a constant, unnerving quietness. Many leave, but a disturbing number of people vanish without a trace. In the United States, the Bennington Triangle is another notorious site where people disappear. Located in southwestern Vermont, this area has been the site of unexplained disappearances dating back to the 1940s. The disappearances continue to this day, with many locals claiming that something about the land itself is responsible. Some suggest it is the work of strange creatures or even otherworldly beings, while others believe the area is cursed by the spirits of the land. Whatever the cause, the result remains the same: people enter and never come back. In Romania, the Hoya Forest has become famous for its paranormal activities. People claim to have seen UFOs, heard unexplained noises, and even vanished altogether. The forest is covered in dense vegetation, with twisted trees that seem to reach out at strange angles. Locals warn against entering, and visitors report experiencing extreme anxiety, as though something is watching them. Those who have gone missing in Hoya Forest have left behind no clues, no traces, and no answers. These forests share a common thread. They are places where the ordinary becomes the extraordinary, and the truth of what happens there remains hidden. They are both dangerous and hauntingly alluring, drawing in those who seek answers, only to have them lost in the very landscape that promises none. The allure of these forests is undeniable. Despite the countless warnings and chilling tales passed down through generations, people continue to be drawn to these mysterious places. But what makes them so captivating? The answer may lie in the sense of the unknown, the feeling that these forests hide something much deeper than can be understood. There is a psychological pull to places shrouded in mystery and fear, and people are naturally curious about the things that defy explanation. The danger these forests pose is not always physical, though treacherous terrain, unpredictable weather, and dense foliage can certainly contribute, but it is psychological. A person who steps into one of these forests may find themselves overcome by an overwhelming sense of isolation and paranoia. The mind can turn on itself, disoriented by the heavy silence, the labyrinth-like trails, and the unexplained phenomena that occur in these places. What may start as a curious adventure can quickly turn into a terrifying experience. Some theorists argue that the dense, dark atmosphere of these forests plays a role in creating a psychological dissonance that causes people to become lost, both physically and mentally. The lack of external stimuli, combined with the oppressive feeling of being watched or followed, creates an environment where it is easy to lose one's sense of direction and reality. In these forests, it is not uncommon for hikers and travelers to suddenly feel detached from the world, as though the forest is pulling them deeper into its grip. But for those who do not succumb to fear or confusion, there is something else at play, the sense that they are on the verge of discovering something monumental. The allure of the unknown, the hope of uncovering a hidden truth, keeps people coming back. But the stakes are high, as those who wander too far may never return to tell the tale. Aokigahara Forest, located at the base of Mount Fuji, is notorious for its reputation as the suicide forest. For centuries, this dense, eerily silent forest has been a place where many come to end their lives. It is a haunting, dark place, where the trees are thick and the forest floor is littered with moss and brush. Despite its outward beauty, it carries a deep sense of melancholy, as if the forest itself is a place of sorrow. The dense trees block out most of the sunlight, and the air remains unnervingly still, amplifying every sound, a faint rustling, a snapping twig, making visitors feel as though they are never alone. The story of Shuji, a 45-year-old man who entered the forest with a deep sense of despair, is one that has echoed in the community around Aokigahara. He was last seen on a hiking trail, preparing to leave the path and venture deeper into the woods, where there was no clear trail. After he did not return by nightfall, search teams were dispatched to locate him. For days, they combed through the forest, only to discover that no trace of him had been left behind, no footprints, no belongings, no sign he had ever been there. Despite their efforts, no trace of Shuji was ever found. The last remnants of his journey vanished as mysteriously as he did. Many who enter the forest describe a deep, unshakable feeling of dread. It is as if the trees themselves whisper, drawing people deeper into the woods. Local folklore suggests that Aokigahara is haunted by the spirits of the restless dead, their souls trapped within the trees. It is said that the spirits of those who took their lives in the forest are still there, and that they guide others to follow in their footsteps. The forest's reputation has only grown over the years, with news of disappearances spreading fear among those who venture into its depths. But it is not just the suicides that contribute to the mystique of Aokigahara. Over time, many visitors, tourists and hikers alike, have wandered in, only to become hopelessly lost. The forest's labyrinthine nature, along with a strange phenomenon that causes compasses and electronic devices to malfunction, makes it incredibly difficult to navigate. The more you try to find your way out, the more the forest seems to pull you in deeper, forcing you to lose all sense of direction. Does every sentence have its place? Yes, the narrative naturally builds on the unsettling history of the forest while maintaining the mystery surrounding the disappearances. It keeps the story emotionally engaging and heightens the viewer's anticipation of the forest's secrets. Moving to the United States, the Bennington Triangle in Vermont has a dark history of strange disappearances dating back to the 1940s. This remote area, nestled between the towns of Bennington, Glastonbury, and Woodford, is known for its eerie landscape of dense forests, rugged terrain, and unpredictable weather. Over the decades, several individuals have vanished within the boundaries of the triangle, their disappearances unexplained and their fates unknown. One of the most baffling stories comes from James Tedford, a man who had been traveling home on a bus after visiting family. When the bus stopped for a rest, Tedford was still sitting in his seat. However, when the bus resumed its journey, James was nowhere to be found. His suitcase, belongings, and coat remained, but there was no sign of him. A search was conducted, and despite the bus taking a direct route and there being no exit for Tedford to have used, no trace of him was ever discovered. What makes this story even more chilling is that passengers sitting near Tedford did not report seeing him leave the bus, and the bus driver did not see him exit either. The Bennington Triangle has sparked countless theories, from cryptic legends about the area's supernatural ties to ideas about creatures or even alien activity in the forests. But no matter the theory, the fact remains that the disappearances have continued, some victims being found in impossible locations, others never found at all. Visitors to the triangle have often claimed to experience strange phenomena. Hikers describe a sense of being followed or stalked, hearing footsteps when no one is nearby. Others claim they've heard voices calling their names or seen shadows flitting between the trees. It is as though the very air is alive with unseen forces. Theories abound, but the chilling reality is that no one has ever been able to explain the disappearances definitively. Reasonable assumptions. We assume the disappearances in the Bennington Triangle are the result of some combination of natural forces, dangerous wildlife, tough terrain, and even mental strain. However, the frequency of these incidents suggests there may be something more, an unexplained force that takes people in the midst of seemingly ordinary circumstances. Located near Cluj-Napoca in Romania, Hoia Forest is known for its dark and eerie reputation, often referred to as the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. This forest, covered in dense vegetation and twisted trees, is not only a place where many people have disappeared, but also a hotspot for paranormal activity. Locals have long warned against venturing into Hoia, claiming that the forest has a malevolent presence. The stories surrounding it are as varied as they are unsettling, ranging from sightings of strange lights and UFOs to ghostly apparitions and unexplained physical effects. One of the most well-known cases from Hoia involves a group of young hikers who ventured into the forest in the 1960s. The group, initially excited by the adventure, soon became disoriented. Their compass began malfunctioning, and they could not make sense of their surroundings. Hours later, when they attempted to leave, they realized they were back at the exact spot where they had started. Strangely, one of the hikers, a young woman, had not only lost her way but also suffered from severe emotional distress, claiming she had seen a strange figure standing among the trees. The hikers hurriedly left, but the woman, in particular, could not shake the feeling that something had been watching her. In addition to human disappearances, Hoia Forest is notorious for its vegetation anomalies. Certain areas of the forest are known for the presence of perfectly circular clearings, where the trees do not grow and the ground remains oddly barren. Some believe these clearings are portals, places where the forest traps those who enter too deep. Photographers who have ventured into the forest have reported strange electromagnetic disturbances, their cameras malfunctioning, and their photos often showing unexplained distortions. Some believe that the forest is a place where time itself is distorted. Those who wander in too far are said to encounter time loops, where minutes feel like hours, and they return only to find they've lost precious time. Others attribute the unsettling experiences to paranormal activity, spirits, entities, or extraterrestrial forces that lurk within the trees. Does every sentence have its place? Yes, each detail builds on the forest's reputation while maintaining suspense and mystery. The strange disappearances in Aokigahara, the Bennington Triangle, and Hoia Forest all share a common thread: the unexplained and often eerie circumstances surrounding them. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed to explain these baffling events. Some of these explanations are grounded in science, while others venture into the realm of the supernatural. One of the most widely accepted natural explanations is the influence of the environment on human perception and behavior. In these dense, remote forests, the lack of clear landmarks and the overwhelming silence can cause disorientation. In Aokigahara, for instance, the dense canopy and absence of wildlife contribute to an eerie stillness, making it difficult to gauge direction. In places like Bennington Triangle, the unpredictable weather patterns and treacherous terrain may also cause people to lose their way. As a result, hikers may wander deeper into the woods, unknowingly becoming lost. Another explanation is magnetic anomalies. Scientists have proposed that these forests may be affected by strange magnetic fields that cause malfunctioning of compasses and electronic devices. These anomalies can disorient people, leading them to unknowingly venture deeper into the forest, away from the safe paths. Such disturbances could explain why people often feel lost or trapped, even though they may not be far from civilization. However, as compelling as these scientific explanations may be, they do not fully account for the strange and eerie experiences people report. The supernatural theories are equally as fascinating. Many believe that the forests themselves are not just places of physical danger, but also of psychological manipulation. Some people suggest that these forests are inhabited by spirits or otherworldly forces, perhaps even ancient guardians, that lead people astray. Aokigahara, often associated with the spirits of those who have taken their lives, is thought to be a place where these lost souls remain trapped, attempting to draw others into the same fate. Similarly, in Hoia Forest, where UFO sightings and paranormal events are common, Some theorize that extraterrestrial beings are responsible for the disappearances, either by abducting individuals or causing them to become lost in a space-time anomaly. Local folklore often contributes to these supernatural theories. The ancient myths surrounding Hoya Forest, for example, tell of a cursed area that holds the souls of those who perished within it. Such myths continue to influence public perception of these places, adding a layer of mystery that lingers long after people have disappeared. Reasonable assumptions. It is reasonable to assume that many of these disappearances can be attributed to a combination of factors, natural, psychological, and perhaps even supernatural. Regardless of the explanation, the mystery remains, and the forests continue to claim those who venture too deep. The idea that these forests possess sentient qualities is rooted in the legends and folklore that have surrounded them for centuries. In many cultures, forests are not just seen as passive natural spaces, but as powerful and mysterious entities, often inhabited by spirits. Some suggest that extraterrestrials may have used the forests as sites for unexplained experiments, abducting people and leaving them in strange and unreachable locations. Others believe that the very land itself might be cursed, causing time to collapse or creating pockets of alternate realities where the laws of physics no longer apply. A particularly chilling idea is that these forests are sentient entities, capable of luring people into their depths. The combination of dense, labyrinthine paths, strange atmospheric conditions, and mysterious phenomena creates a sense of entrapment. It is as if the forest itself wants people to stay, drawing them deeper with its sense of foreboding allure, until they lose all sense of direction and reality. These disappearances may not simply be accidents. They could be a part of a larger, unexplained force at work. This supernatural theory, though unsettling, fits the mysterious nature of these forests, places where people vanish without explanation, leaving only whispers behind. For many, the truth may lie not in the forests themselves, but in the unseen forces that dwell within them, waiting to claim their next victim. The emotional toll of these disappearances is felt deeply by the families of the missing and the search teams that brave these dangerous forests. For families, the agony of not knowing what happened to their loved ones can be far worse than the loss itself. Hope mixed with fear becomes an unbearable emotional burden, as every search effort produces nothing but silence. They are left wondering if their loved one wandered into the woods and simply lost their way, or if something darker has taken them. Take, for example, the families of those who vanished in Hoya Forest. Maria, a mother, whose son went missing in the forest during a hike, recalls how his sudden disappearance shattered their lives. Despite search efforts that spanned weeks, they found no trace of him, no personal effects, no signs of struggle, not even footprints in the mud. The authorities were unable to explain it, leaving Maria to carry the pain of uncertainty. As the years went by, the loss became more surreal, as though her son had vanished into thin air, swallowed by the forest itself. The search teams that venture into these forests, too, are forever changed by the experience. The Bennington Triangle has seen numerous search efforts over the years, but even the most experienced teams have come back empty-handed. Rescuers recount stories of being drawn to the same locations, finding themselves back where they started, unable to escape the forest grip. The dense trees seem to shift with every step, and compasses malfunction, giving the false sense of being further into the woods than they actually are. In many cases, the searchers themselves become disoriented, experiencing strange physical sensations, unexplained dizziness, hallucinations, or a nagging sense of being watched, compelling some to abandon the mission altogether. Even with modern technology and highly trained personnel, these forests seem to hold an almost impenetrable power. For the people involved in these search operations, these disappearances are more than just mysterious. They become a psychological and emotional struggle. The very forest itself seems to wear down their resolve, draining their energy and blurring their perception of reality. In some cases, these teams are left with the gut-wrenching realization that some places are simply beyond human understanding, and they carry the haunting question: what is it that keeps people lost in these woods forever? Does it clearly establish the stakes? Yes. This section shows the deeply personal and emotional consequences of these disappearances, illustrating the long-term impact on families and rescuers. When someone vanishes in these mysterious forests, the consequences ripple far beyond the immediate loss. Families are left in a state of perpetual uncertainty and grief. With no answers, they are forced to live with the terrifying possibility that their loved ones have vanished into an inexplicable void, with no closure in sight. The psychological toll on the families of the missing is profound. Sarah, the sister of a man who disappeared in the Bennington Triangle, recounts how each passing year without resolution has strained her mental health. "I can't stop thinking about what happened to him," she says, her voice breaking. Did he get lost? Did he stumble upon something he wasn't supposed to? Or is there something more sinister at play? The lack of an explanation leaves Sarah trapped in a cycle of wondering whether she will ever get answers. As time passes, the pain of not knowing becomes unbearable, and the question remains, how does one move on when the truth is never revealed? For those who venture into these forests, the experience of becoming lost is often as terrifying as the fate that awaits them. The feeling of isolation and disorientation sets in quickly, often leaving people with a sense of impending doom. Hikers and travelers recount moments when they lost their bearings and began walking in circles, unable to find the exit despite retracing their steps. In some cases, the experience is so intense that survivors speak of being mentally affected, feeling that they were guided off the path by a force beyond their control. These experiences raise questions about the nature of these forests. Are they simply natural environments with peculiar physical characteristics, or is something more sinister at play? The human mind, in its struggle for survival, begins to question what is real and what is imagined. The idea that these forests may warp time and reality adds to the paranoia that sets in. Those who find their way out are often changed forever, with a lingering sense of dread that never truly leaves them. Is it clear that the stakes are high? Yes, the stakes are established through the emotional toll on the families, the disorientation experienced by the lost, and the deepening mystery surrounding these forests. This section clearly sets up the existential fear of what happens when people vanish in these places. Despite all the theories, investigations, and search efforts, the mystery of these forests remains unsolved. No matter how many experts are consulted, or how many search teams are sent, the disappearances continue. The forests themselves hold their secrets close, as if daring anyone to uncover the truth. Many of those who venture in, whether searching for a lost loved one or simply seeking to understand what happened, become part of the enigma themselves. Theories, though intriguing, have failed to provide concrete answers. The psychological effects, environmental factors, and even supernatural explanations all offer some insight, but they cannot explain the full scope of these disappearances. Some argue that these forests simply trap people, pulling them into an unknown realm, while others believe that there may be forces at play that defy current understanding. Aokigahara remains an especially haunting case. Despite the high number of disappearances and suicides, the Japanese authorities have been unable to pinpoint a definitive cause. Theories range from spiritual hauntings to electromagnetic disturbances that disorient people, yet none of these explanations fully address the sheer volume of those who have vanished within its borders. The forest's eerie silence and thick undergrowth continue to be a place where people vanish, never to be found again. The Bennington Triangle and Hoya Forest are no different. With each disappearance, the mystery deepens. For every theory that is explored, a new layer of mystery is revealed. Why do these people disappear, seemingly without a trace? Is it just bad luck, or is there something else at work? And if so, what? The failure to solve these cases leads some to believe that these forests are meant to remain a mystery. The search for answers is futile, as if the answers themselves are buried too deeply in the very fabric of the forest, waiting for someone to wander in and be claimed. These forests do not simply hide their secrets, they protect them. Does it create a sense of foreboding? Yes. This section builds the idea that the mystery may never be solved, heightening the fear that these forests may hold dark, unknowable truths that will continue to elude anyone who tries to uncover them. As these forests continue to haunt the landscape, they stand as monuments to the unsolved mysteries of the world. Every disappearance adds to their growing legend, and each new attempt to understand the inexplicable only leads to further questions. There is something almost eternal about the mystery of these places, something that will never be fully understood, leaving behind only whispers, rumors, and eerie tales of those who disappeared within. The legacy of these forests is a dark one, shaped by the souls who have vanished into their depths. Their stories live on in the memories of the families left behind, in the whispered legends of those who dare to explore these places, and in the unresolved cases that continue to haunt investigators. Some will call them cursed, others will say they are haunted, but the truth of what really happens in these forests may never be known. What is certain, however, is that these forests are not just places on a map. They are living, breathing entities that hold power over those who step into them. The eerie silence, the twisting trees, The dense shadows, they all serve as a reminder that some mysteries are not meant to be solved. The forests wait, and they will continue to claim those who venture too far. For those who enter, it may be a quest for knowledge, but for the forest, it is just another soul to claim. Does it leave the viewer with a sense of unease? Yes, the concluding remarks reinforce the mysterious, unsettling nature of these forests, urging the viewer to reflect on the legacy of the forests and the lingering questions that remain unanswered. What do you think is behind these mysterious disappearances? Do you believe these forests are cursed, or is there something else at play? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of the unexplained and mysterious places around the world.